Somewhere in this field of 6, a future Kentucky Derby star might be taking their very first real step towards greatness. The Los Alamitos Futurity has crowned champions, exposed pretenders, and launched careers. And today, one of those horses will rise above the rest. In this preview, I'm going to analyze every contender, their pedigrees, their patterns, their past races to uncover who truly has the talent to move forward on the Kentucky Derby trail. How will you find your winner? Facts and figures are going to give you that winning edge. I give you the stats, you make the picks. Hi, it's Maura from Trifecta and a little bit extra, and today I'm going to cover the Grade 2 Los Alamitos Futurity, a 1.16 miles on the dirt, Saturday, December 13th at Los Alamitos Race Course. 6 contenders, 10 Kentucky Derby points on the line. But before I get started, I just want to remind you this. Horse betting is not legal in every state, so if you're betting, make sure it's legal. Now, if there's one horse in this field who wants you to notice him immediately, it's Acknowlegemeplz. And to be fair, he's earned it. Coming out of post position 1, he is trained by Doug O'Neill and will be ridden by Armando Ayuso. 2 starts at Santa Anita and both sprints. 2 blazing breaks from the gate with a win and a place all the time in the exacta. Every time that latch opens, boom! He's the first one you see. At Santa Anita, he rocketed out of the gate, got to the inside, set hurricane level fractions, and held on for an 80 Beyer, and then a 93. And that tells us 2 things. He's fast, and he loves the inside, and guess where he is today? On the rail. But here's the question that defines his story. Can a sprinter who's been bullying fields at 5 and 6.5 furlongs stretch that speed around 2 turns? Now his pedigree says maybe. Bucaro isn't a classic dirt router sire, but he did win twice at this exact distance on the dirt and from the inside, so maybe that rail draw is his destiny. You can't ignore this one, and Doug O'Neill has won this race before. Every once in a while you meet a horse whose breeding screams louder than their past performances. Welcome to Provenance. Into Mischief on top, Monomoy Girl on the bottom. Now, Into Mischief, we know him from the Kentucky Derby last year. He was the sire of many of the entries, including the winner, Sovereignty. And Monomoy Girl, multiple Grade 1 winner, including Kentucky Oaks. This is pedigree royalty, and it's also her first foal to hit the track. Oh, and who is the trainer? Baffert, who has won this race, get this, 14 times since 1997. Now, one could argue that Provenance was born with a resume. What has he shown so far? 2 starts with a win and a show. In his debut, a 2-turn mile at Del Mar. He broke slow, went wide, but still ran a respectable 3rd with a 77 Beyer behind Intrepido, who went on to win the Grade 1 American Pharoah. Next time out, he said, fine, I'll just take the lead myself, and he wired a maiden field at Santa Anita, 70 Beyer. But the raw speed really isn't there yet, not compared to his stablemates. But when your pedigree is this loaded, improvement isn't a matter of if, just when. And check out those workouts, super fast. Every field has that one horse that reveals the truth about everybody else. That's literally what a litmus test does. And this litmus test coming out of post position 3 fits his name. He's the most experienced horse in the field with 4 starts, a win and a show. Also the classiest. 3 of them are Grade 1s, meaning he has been competing at the utmost highest level. Oh, and guess what? This is the only runner to have gone this distance, not just once, but twice. His best finish was 3rd. That race was the Claiborne Breeders' Futurity at Keeneland, 3rd behind Ted Noffey, leading 2-year-old with an 89 Beyer. Then gets a career best 95 Beyer in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile top race for 2-year-olds, again behind Ted Noffey, finishing 4th. Each race has been faster than the last, and that speed rating puts him top in this field. And this is an $875,000 purchase by Nyquist, trained by Bob Baffert, ridden by Juan Hernandez. This is the full California power package. Litmus Test is that known quantity. He brings form, figures, foundation, consistency. But is he a lock? No 2-year-old can be considered a lock. But if you're searching for a horse that's most likely to show you who is the real deal in this field, this one is holding the truth. Now, before I move on to that next contender, if you're finding this information useful, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe. I not only have more Kentucky Derby preps for you to get you ready for that big race, but also horse racing education to help you with your handicapping. And join me on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me as Trifecta and Extra. I'm going to be bringing you Derby tips, Derby history, and lifestyle, meaning fashion, and everything you need for your Kentucky Derby party leading up to that first Saturday in May. Now back to the horses and each of their stories. If Litmus Test is the known quantity, then Blacksmith is the wild card coming out of post position 4. Think of him as the apprentice in a shop of master craftsmen. Raw, talented, but still hammering himself into shape. The third horse in the Bob Baffert trio. Now this horse has 2 races, both at 6.5 furlongs, so both sprints. In his debut, he chased Acknowlegemeplz, who's also in this race, the entire way, and still posted a very strong 91 Beyer with a 2nd place finish. That's instant promise, but his second start, total mess. Tight quarters, lost ground, steered out in the lane, finishes 5th with a 70 Beyer. Now you could just throw that race out like a bent nail. Tells you nothing. But what does matter? What's been going on in the morning. Look at his last 6 workouts. He has 3 bullet workouts, meaning he's been top in the workouts for that day. Now this horse can move, and the pedigree, Liam's map on top, and Curlin as his dam sire. These are 2 powerhouses that thrived at the longer distances. If any Baffert horse in this race can stretch out, it's this one. Blacksmith may still be a maiden, meaning he has yet to win a race, but he also may be the one forging something surprising. Not every young horse gets an easy road. An American King coming out of post position 5 is just one of those stories where the pedigree outruns the performances, at least so far. Trained by Ruben Gomez, he gets Giovanni Franco as his jockey. Now he's by American Pharoah out of a Bernardini mare, so the bloodlines say royalty, but the results have said something different. This horse is still a maiden, but not only that, has yet to hit the board, meaning hasn't finished 1st, 2nd, or 3rd in either of his 2 starts. One was a 6 furlong race where, in a 6-horse field, he comes in last with a 41 Beyer. Now the next race is a mile at Del Mar on the turf, finishes 4th, but still has a very light Beyer of 58. There's some talent there, but this field is too deep and too fast, and for me, he's just going to be a pass. Some races, they have sleepers, and Captivator may fit that role perfectly coming out of post position 6. Trained by John Sadler, he's ridden by Hector Berrios. 2 races with a win and a place, so always in the exacta, always fighting, and always trying to take the race to his rivals from the jump. But what you should know is both of those races were restricted races, and both were sprints, so how is he going to do in this race? His debut, 6.5 furlongs, slow break, immediate rally. He duels hard. Now I love to see a horse duel because that tells me they have heart. Finishes 2nd, but earns a light Beyer of 62. Next start, he said enough of that. He grabs the lead, never looks back, gate to wire, wins by 10 lengths, and he improves his speed rating to a 74. But the big question is the same that many in this field are facing. Can his front-running style survive that stretch out to 2 turns? His pedigree? Nah, mixed signals. Charlatan is his sire, 1 at a mile and an eighth, but best progeny has been sprinters. But the dam sire, Magdagliadoro, one of the great stamina influences in the last generation. He will need improvement. He will need progression, but with natural speed and a pedigree that whispers possibility, Captivator has earned a second look. When those gates spring open, we're going to see whose storyline moves forward. Every finish line is the start of another chapter on the Kentucky Derby Trail. But before that chapter is written, I want to hear from you. Drop me a comment below. Who do you like in the Los Alamitos Futurity? And do you see a Derby star in the making? And if you want more insights like this, go ahead and hit like and hit subscribe. Lots more Kentucky Derby prep race coverage coming your way, and also horse racing education. Let's improve our handicapping skills together. I hope you all find your winners on Saturday, and most of all, sashay away with your money. Until next time, cheers.